Races.
Tonight, breaking news, the female officer just charged with first-degree manslaughter after a father walking toward his SUV, his hands up, is later shot and killed by police. The state of emergency at this hour in Charlotte.
Shots fired.
After protests turned violent, the National Guard just arriving and word one protester has now died. We're on the scene. Also breaking tonight, the shooting as we come on the air. Authorities on the scene right now. A workplace in Tennessee, the images coming in. Donald Trump's outreach to black voters and his controversial words about stop and frisk. And tonight, Robin Roberts with President Obama, the exclusive right here on policing and what he would tell Hillary Clinton as she walks onto that debate stage Monday night. And new video just in after bombs are placed in and around New York City and what we've now learned about the suspect and his wife.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and we begin tonight with two breaking headlines. A state of emergency in Charlotte at this hour amid protests after a deadly police shooting. And at the same time, in Tulsa tonight, just a short time ago, a female police officer charged with first-degree manslaughter. Amid growing outrage in that community, the dash cam video making national headlines, showing that father walking toward his SUV, his hands up, a short time later shot and killed. ABC's Clayton Sandell leading us off.
It took less than a week for prosecutors to decide that the officer who killed Terrence Crutcher on this Tulsa street allegedly committed a crime.
I determined that the filing of the felony crime of manslaughter in the first degree against Tulsa police officer Betty Shelby is warranted.
Officer Shelby encountered Crutcher Friday night, his SUV abandoned in the street. Shelby's version is that she feared Crutcher was armed and high on PCP.
I've got a subject who won't show me his hands.
Despite the fact Crutcher had his hands up and was walking away,
he's got his hands up there for her now.
Shelby fired that fatal shot when she says he reached inside his car. Attorneys for Crutcher's family say that would have been impossible.
The window was up, so how could he be reaching into the car if the window is up and there's blood on the glass?
Prosecutors say Shelby acted unreasonably by escalating the situation.
Officer Shelby, although now charged, is presumed to be innocent until a judge or a jury determines otherwise.
Tonight, Crutcher's family, who believes his death was racially motivated, said this.
While we are pleased to learn that the officer who senselessly killed my beloved twin brother will face criminal charges for her reckless act, we understand that nothing will bring him back.
And Clayton Sandell is with us tonight. Clayton, what next now for the officer?
Hey, David, good evening. Yeah, Tulsa police tell us that they are going to wait until after Officer Shelby's trial to determine whether or not she's going to be fired. But there is one important distinction tonight. Officer Shelby is now on leave without pay. David?
Clayton Sandell leading us off tonight. Clayton, thank you. And as I mentioned at the top, the state of emergency in Charlotte at this hour. More of the National Guard moving in late today. Protests there turning violent after a deadly police shooting there. Riot police moving in through the streets, lobbing tear gas to dispel the crowds. Tonight we have learned the police have now shared the video of the deadly shooting with the family. And ABC's Eva Pilgrim is in Charlotte.
Tonight, a state of emergency as Charlotte braces for more protests. The National Guard now in place after the scene turned violent for a second night Wednesday evening. Late this afternoon, lawyers for the family of the man who was fatally shot by police Tuesday, 43-year-old Keith Lamont Scott, calling for peace.
This family does not agree with rioting or innocent individuals being injured or killed.
The Scott's grieving family still has questions about what led to this moment.
My daddy ain't do nothing.
His family maintaining that he did not own a gun, while police say he had a gun and they felt threatened. This was the volatile scene Wednesday night as protesters flooded downtown. At 8:30, gunfire erupts in the heart of the city. A protester is critically shot and killed. Authorities say they are investigating that shooting. The crowds shutting down the interstate around the city. Watch as Lou Ann Boland's car was surrounded.
So I'm literally rolling my car through these people. I was in panic mode, and I saw a clearing and I gunned it, and then it was home safe.
Today, Charlotte's police chief confirming to ABC News this was the gun Keith Lamont Scott had when he was shot.
And those officers saw that gun in his hand.
Yes.
Police say they will not release their video of the shooting until the investigation is over, but the family of Scott is reviewing it tonight.
The video does not give me absolute, definitive, visual evidence that that would confirm that a person is pointing a gun.
And Eva Pilgrim back live in Charlotte with us again tonight. And Eva, you were telling us they are bracing for possible unrest again this evening.
That's right, David. Residents and businesses here on edge. You can see this hotel damaged last night, boarded up their windows, taking no chances tonight. David.
All right, Eva, thanks so much. And just moments ago here, an ABC News exclusive. President Obama one-on-one with our Robin Roberts. She asked the president what he makes of the violent protests, the growing tension, and how to bridge the divide with police.
What we have seen recently in Charlotte, North Carolina, young people rising up and showing their frustration in a different way. When you and the rest of the world sees that, what goes through your mind?
Well, I think it's important to separate out the pervasive sense of frustration among a lot of African Americans about shootings of people and the sense that justice is not always colorblind. The way we change the system requires us to be able to reach out and engage the broader American community. And that requires being peaceful. That requires being thoughtful about what are the specific reforms you're looking for. The overwhelming majority of people who've been concerned about police-community relations doing it the right way. Every once in a while you see folks doing it the wrong way.
Much more with President Obama on Good Morning America. And in a moment right here, what he said when Robin asked what Hillary Clinton should do on that debate stage with Donald Trump Monday night. What the president said in a moment. That is where we turn next tonight to the race for president. 4 days until that debate. And tonight right here, 4 key states, 2 very different stories. Hillary Clinton ahead in Colorado, 44 to Trump's 42 within the margin of error. Clinton leading in Virginia, 45 to 39. But it is Trump who is ahead in Georgia, 47 to Clinton's 40. And in Iowa tonight, Trump is ahead, 44 to Clinton's 37. A very tight race in key battlegrounds. And Donald Trump tonight trying to reach out to African-American voters. And this evening now clarifying what he said about stop and frisk. Here's ABC's Tom Yamas.
Tonight, with the issue of race red hot, Donald Trump heaping praise on police, but also offered this.
We must do everything we can to ensure that they are properly trained, that they respect all members of the public, and that any wrongdoing is always, and it will be by them, vigorously addressed.
But then, while speaking about the protesters in Charlotte, this off-prompter ad-lib.
And if you're not aware, drugs are a very, very big factor in what you're watching on television at night.
Trump is trying to expand his base. Right now, 91% of his supporters are white.
It's very divided, our country. It just seems that there's a lack of spirit between the white and the black. There's a lack of spirit. There's a lack of something. Something's going on that's bad. And what's going on between police and others is getting worse.
However, Trump is now promoting a policy that's highly unpopular in the black community.
There's been a lot of violence in the black community. I want to know, what would you do to help stop that violence, black on black crime?
Right. Well, one of the things I'd do, Ricardo, is I would do stop and frisk. I see what's going on here. I see what's going on in Chicago. I think stop and frisk. In New York City, it was so incredible the way it worked.
Stop and frisk is a controversial policing method that many say encourages racial profiling of pedestrians. In New York last year alone, 83% of people stopped by police were black or Latino. The NYPD largely abandoned the tactic, and a federal judge in New York ruled it unconstitutional. Just hours after Trump made his comments, his campaign tried to clarify, insisting he was only talking about implementing stop and frisk in Chicago, not nationwide.
I was really referring to Chicago with stop and frisk. They asked me about Chicago.
As Trump tries to build bridges to the black community, Hillary Clinton also working on her outreach to young voters, appearing on the popular web series Between Two Ferns with actor Zach Galifianakis.
When he's elected president and Kid Rock becomes Secretary of State, are you going to move to Canada or one of the Arctics?
I would stay in the United States.
And what would you try to?
Try to prevent him from destroying the United States.
Tom Yamas joins us live tonight from Pennsylvania. Tom, tomorrow both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump both off the trail, and we gather both preparing for Monday night's big debate.
That's right, David. Trump considered campaigning tomorrow in Ohio, but that event is now off. We understand he's going to be in New York, possibly prepping for the debate. And David, tonight, a little bit of inspiration. We're just outside of Philadelphia. That's a statue of Rocky Balboa tonight wearing a Trump-Pence t-shirt. David?
All right, Tom Yamas, our thanks to you as always. By the way, that first debate, as I mentioned, 4 days away now, right here on ABC. As I mentioned, Robin did ask the president any advice for Hillary Clinton with up to 100 million people expected to watch.
It's Monday night. It's game time. Secretary Clinton's about to take the stage with the debate. What would you want to say to her before walking out for that first debate?
Be yourself and explain what motivates you. Because I will tell you, I've gotten to know Hillary and seen her work and seen her in tough times and in good times. She's in this for the right reasons. I think there's a reason why we haven't had a woman president before, and so she's having to break down some barriers. There's a level of mistrust and a caricature of her that just doesn't jibe with who I know, this person that cares deeply about kids.
Robin's entire exclusive interview with President Obama tomorrow morning, right here on Good Morning America. The news continues here tonight into the other developing story as we're on the air. Word of a workplace shooting, reports of several deaths. Police responding in Athens, Tennessee, and David Curley joins us with late details coming in. David?
Good evening, David. Police are not confirming details at this hour of how many are dead, but local media are reporting that there are 4 dead in this workplace shooting, 3 victims in the shooter. Police are saying that, quote, the shooter is down. The first pictures from the scene show a heavy police and first responder presence. This happened late today at a factory that makes electrical connectors in Athens, Tennessee. That's between Chattanooga and Knoxville. Police who reported the active shooting once again have not confirmed the number of dead, only saying that the shooter has been neutralized. David?
David Curley on this into the evening. David, thank you. Next tonight, new developments in the investigation of those bombings in New York City and New Jersey, and what we're now learning about the suspect and his wife. We have new images tonight of the blast on New York's 23rd Street where dozens were hurt. It surfaces as the suspect's wife returns from the Middle East. Police eager to question her now. And here tonight, ABC's Lindsay Janis.
Tonight, as authorities hunt for possible accomplices, new footage of the moment that bomb blast rocked Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood. But authorities are still unable to question the key suspect. Sources tell ABC News Ahmad Rahami is unconscious and intubated at the hospital after he was shot 7 times in that shootout with police, and that he may not survive. Last Wednesday, Rahami's wife, Asia Bibi Rahami, returning from Dubai where she was questioned by the FBI. An official says she has been cooperative, quote, to a certain degree. The suspect's father late today speaking about his daughter-in-law.
Asia Bibi, is she coming back to the home today?
No.
And as authorities continue to retrace Rahami's steps, ABC News has learned the gun he used was purchased legally by Rahami in July at this store in Salem, Virginia, and that he visited this hair salon the day before the bombings, giving someone a high five. David, we're told investigators are now honing in on the 3-hour gap between when Rahami was spotted on surveillance video here in Chelsea and when his car was seen leaving Manhattan. David?
Lindsay Janis on the case again tonight. Lindsay, thank you. And next this evening, the severe weather watch at this hour. Heavy rain in parts of the Midwest, up to 10 inches of rain in some places. Flash flooding undermining this county road in Minnesota, washing part of it away. Boats ripped from their moorings in a Wisconsin lake, sending this one right over the dam there. And tonight, flash flood watches and warnings remain in place. Those rivers are still rising. We'll track this through GMA. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Thursday. The massive hack and your personal email. 500 million users and their email accounts targeted tonight. Also breaking, sources telling ABC News Los Angeles authorities are investigating a child abuse claim involving actor Brad Pitt. The stunning moment in the toy aisle making national headlines tonight. Why police have now released this video of a mother. They want everyone to see this. And the home invasion caught on camera tonight. The moment a woman confronts 3 armed suspects opening fire, trying to protect herself in her own home. We'll be right back.
Which you are you? Be the you who doesn't cover your moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Be the you who shows up in that dress, who hugs a friend, who is done with treatments that don't give you clearer skin. Be the you who controls your psoriasis with Stelara. Just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Stelara may lower your ability to fight infections and may increase your risk of infections and cancer. Some serious infections require hospitalization. Before treatment, get tested for tuberculosis. Before starting Stelara, tell your doctor if you